All right. We'll go ahead and kick things off here. Thank you for joining this week's contractor call. I'm sure we're going to see people start to trickle in. But I'm excited to be able to lead this call. I think it's the next, well, now and over the next couple months, these are going to be super important given season changes and obviously just kind of capacity planning for next year and whatnot. So I think it's awesome if you guys could join. I know that it's always busy for everybody on this call as well. So we'll make sure that we get this uploaded as well. Just in case you guys missed through our contractor resource center. So you or your crews can watch or disseminate that as needed. But we'll go ahead and kind of start off with an agenda. My name is Matt Kaiser. I'm a vice president of operations here at TaskEasy. And every 2 weeks, we like to get with our network and go over some high level stuff that we're kind of seeing down the pipeline, and then just making sure that we're, I guess, on the same page in terms of expectations, just in the spirit of good partnership. So we typically will talk about seasonality updates. And so we'll start there today. We're getting into leaf season. So we've got some updates there that I'm excited to share, and I want to just make sure that we're covering on this call. When you get into the slower shoulder season, call it, there's a servicing hierarchy that we have because, of all the great work that you guys do, some of our customers will opt to stay on longer, even if we're in a different frequency, which we love because it still gives you guys the opportunity to continue to keep your crews busy and generate some revenue. And then another plug for the capability survey, especially going into fall. We're going to be sending out a survey. So it'll be in your inbox, I believe, next Tuesday. And it's going to just solicit some information in terms of what kind of services do you provide if you haven't updated us, just to make sure that we can I guess match jobs if you do perform those types of jobs, so gutter clearing, etc. So without further ado, of course, we'll have a Q&A, but without further ado, we'll go ahead and start. By the way, I see some chats coming through to me. If you guys want to send me questions, you can just chat me in directly, and I'd be happy to, if I can get to them, answer those before the call. And at any rate, my team's on the call as well, so they can get back to you. All right, so seasonality updates, what to expect. So zone A, we are officially bi-weekly, and zone B, we're going to be going bi-weekly, though I will note that in that zone, even as soon as next week, we may see some more jobs materializing. A lot of that still may be zone C when you look at Ohio, but we're expecting more jobs through Ohio and Indy, maybe continuing into the season. So just a heads up, obviously we want to work with everybody who's in our network up there first before we go ahead and have to recruit. I think it'd be a great opportunity if we get more jobs to kind of supplement just volume, so to speak, when you go into a biweekly cadence, but we'll be sure to keep you updated. Zone C, we're going to be looking at, and zone D as well, going October 2nd to a biweekly cadence. Zone E will be moving October 9th, so just the week after, and then zone F doesn't go to biweekly until November 13th. And zone F will stay biweekly, as you can kind of see going into the winter months. I will say, in part of the topic, we're going to chat through servicing hierarchy. Customers may elect to want to stay on longer durations in the season. They really benefit from having eyes and ears at properties, so to speak. So, that creates opportunities to continue servicing, and we'll get to how to handle some of those situations, but definitely don't want to have you pass up on some of those opportunities to generate more money, and clients benefit in just making sure that they have somebody that's actually at the property and sees it from time to time. All right, handling leaves. So summer feels almost over. I'm not sure, but there's still going to be a lot more money to be made. We're already starting to get some requests in on this, but again, leaf cleanup, we covered this last time. It's pretty straightforward. Our scope of work requires that we do not mulch the leaves. All leaves should be hauled off site. So just take a photo of leaves and bag them up, or put them in a truck to verify the leaves were hauled away. I think the one thing we got to watch out for this year is just ensuring that we're not leaving bags in yards and then hearing about that and making sure that we actually dispose of that. So moving forward, kind of more of I guess how to handle. We have a couple of different options here. We either have customers that are signed up for approved leaf pricing or they're not. So this is actually going to be included in an email that's going to be sent out either later tonight, it might actually be tomorrow, with some more of the same information. But to call for leaves, if it's not a pre-approved leaf cleanup, you just let us know that there's leaves covering the property and it's stopping you from servicing, and we'll give you specific instructions for that property. This can mean that we ask you to skip the property while we go ahead and work with that customer to get additional funds. We've also got some cool mechanisms on the back end to make sure that we're incentivizing, or not incentivizing, excuse me, that we're pushing to get the urgency to get those cleaned up, because they continue to fall and pile on. It's just going to be a bigger problem. And I think our customers are responsive to that. We are also working our tails off with our team just to ensure that we're, first of all, getting pre-approved leaf cleanups, which I'll kind of cover in terms of an estimated earning bin. But you don't need to call for this. And I'll show you what it looks like, kind of covered it last call, but you would be approved to clear leaves from property and haul them away if it is pre-approved. We will just add the appropriate amount of the additional funds based on the amount of leaves and the size of the yard. So in this case, just remember that you're going to need, again, to gather and haul off leaves from the property, and just have at least one photo showing that the leaves have been gathered and hauled off of the property to be paid on these jobs. Also worth noting, just to make sure that I've seen a lot of photos that are a little bit more narrow, that aren't necessarily covering the entirety of the property. And I think it's super helpful for all parties, mostly you guys, just to make sure that you're taking wide angles that demonstrate how many leaves are on the property, so that we can make sure that we're accounting for that. But this chart here below, we're going to start on the week of the 26th, and that's when we're trying to get some deadlines in terms of everything to be signed. Now, I need to call out a big thing here. These are approximate payouts, and they're on the lower end based on the square footage, because it's an impossible task almost, because every property is different. So I went ahead and we've got the lower end of the payouts on this in terms of the cubic yards and the work provided. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, every property is unique, and those pictures that you display, it's super valuable to us. And then we have a bunch of cool stuff that helps us lock this down. But as you can see, up to 1 cubic yard, $65, up to just under 2,500 yards, up to 2 cubic yards, 82, and then up less than 5,000 feet, between 25 and 5,000, up to 3 cubic yards, 122 is a minimum earning estimate. And then 5,000 to 10,000, up to 6 cubic yards, 184. Like I said, and then so on and so forth. I think that's the majority of our properties, to be honest with you. I think we have some rural that might go into that upper bin, but those are all the lower estimate of earnings. Again, just take pictures and we can go ahead and make sure that we're getting the funds. But we have increased this. I want to say it's gone up around 20% from last year. So I'm excited to be able to make sure that this, like lawn, we're looking at increasing, just as everything else that we're facing has increased across the country. So we're excited. Hopefully this makes it easier as well in terms of how we're going to be displaying it. So that's what I'll go into next. Right here, you're going to see that in the task instruction, there will be a pre-approved leaf cleanup. So this would signify that you don't actually have to give us a call. Don't mulch the leaves, obviously it says here, and they need to be removed. But if it's pre-approved, you can just rest assured that just take that before picture and the after picture of it being clean. And then we have all the other property data details that will help us out with everything else. Now, in the event that we talked about before, where it says call for leaves here, right? So pretty self-explanatory. So just want to give us a call. We may have to bid that out, which we're trying to avoid because we want to keep boots moving. But this, I suspect may happen from time to time, but our team definitely is ready for it and wants to execute expeditiously for you all to make sure that we're moving along. Right from there, I wanted to kind of chat through servicing hierarchy. So just again, remember to chat me in with any questions that you might have so that we can um, answer at the end of the call. I know there's usually quite a few with leaves, but servicing hierarchy, again, like I said, we might have properties that stay on when you guys would be used to not servicing, and that's a benefit, I think, to everybody. But specifically wanted to go through kind of what that hierarchy is, just to ensure that we're all aligned and then our customers aligned as well. So clearly there's obviously scope of work. That's basically all the sub task items that come through each task that you guys will see when you accept a job with Task Easy, showing what we need to have completed. From there, if those items are done, please don't mark no work requested. And I have a screenshot of what that looks like. We're trying to fix that still in our app, so that's not even an option to see. But I want to just highlight there's still opportunity to make some additional cash on that. So if you can show that you're providing curb appeal, which essentially, like I have here on the side, it's bush trimming, weeding beds, edging, vine trimming, or just basic tree trimming. And you take photos that maybe, and you can leave them unsorted, and then you go and leave a note in the comment box. We'll still take care of you for that. We'll make sure that you're getting the price payout. It's just trying to stay on top and doing the minor things, even if, like, for whatever reason, the mowing and whatnot doesn't need to be done. Now from there, if there's absolutely nothing, and this typically goes more in the winter months in certain areas, but there's properties that are still on, just making sure that if there's nothing to be done with curb appeal, that we're at least documenting risks or issues through a property wellness check. So again, just taking the proper photos and then checking for signs of forced entry, broken windows, or water leaking damage. Hopefully hopefully that's all addressed before the winter on behalf of our customer, because that might be too late. But if you see those things, again, leave them unsorted. Leave a comment in the comment field. We have our teams can determine or they can go through that in Spanish or in English, so it doesn't matter for you and your crews, and we'll make sure that you're getting paid for your time out on those properties. So again, super important. See a lot of those where we have them in our system showing that there's nothing to be done there, but wanted to say there's a lot of opportunity still that we can be monetizing off these properties, and I think that'd be great for you guys just to hear, and I want to make sure the team's reinforcing that, so that we're not just having you drive around thinking you can't do stuff on properties. All right, so again, don't use this flow step if you get to a property, and again, just reminding your crews, this is just, wasting time, I think, for everybody, and we are working on a pretty big overhaul for this experience, where this is going to be completely redone, which I'll discuss in subsequent calls. But for right now, just ignore this, and we'll go with the service flow that I provided here earlier. And then again, make money during the slow growth season, just providing basic value. And I think there's a lot of discretion there. So I guess for both of these, it's just highlighting that take unsorted photos and leave comments, plenty of comments. Capability survey. So like I said at the top of this call, I think it's important for us to know who in our network or existing network is able to take on different types of services, and even sometimes new verticals. Like we're getting into trash house, and we've gotten some good responses from some of you maybe on this call that you're able to do that, and that's awesome. We always want to work with our partners that we've had, because it benefits us both. So from a capability survey, pretty straightforward. In the next week, I believe the next Tuesday, you're going to get a survey. Just go ahead and fill it out. And we like to do this every so often. You can always feel free to give us a call, but go ahead and select the items that you do provide service for, such as fall cleanups, winterizations, etc. And then if you're needing to, you can also update days in which you're able to service as well, so that we can make sure that we're doing our part in scheduling and lining up things to coincide with when you're going to be in an area on specific days. So excited about that. I think it's a great way to monetize, especially going into winter or throughout the winter if you're in a state that doesn't get a lot of snow. With that, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and I've got a few questions here. Feel free to continue to chat me in if you have any. Let's see. You are welcome, Jeff. Let's see. Yeah, there for a while I was a little off cadence in this, but definitely want to do my part to make sure that we're being more consistent. And then noted about getting the calls set up in our contractor resource center. Is there a way we can put this on a desktop? I do it this way and I cannot see the screen, only voice. How can I see PowerPoint? Only photo, waste of resources. Yeah, let me take a look into that. I should be able to pin what I share through Zoom, but I can take a look at that, and then when we start the next meeting, get some instructions to hopefully help with that. I appreciate, I'm on a desktop, so I wouldn't have known that. Try to get zone F to where the off week is Thanksgiving week. Yeah. I hear you on that. I think it'll still work out, but I'll have to take a look at that. It may not even matter depending on the clients. Like last year we had a lot stay on longer, but that's the other thing. Let us know if you're going to be out. We'd certainly understand, with the holidays coming up and vacations and whatnot, we can account for that to make everything work out for you. They come to service a yard and the resident just moved in and they want to know who is paying for it. What number or what should I tell them? Yeah, just let them know that you work with Task Easy. I think sometimes because we're continuing to grow, portfolios are switching hands in the rental space so often that I think some of the tenants may be a little bit confused at what's going on. I would just let them know that this is on your schedule from a company called Task Easy. We're in charge of maintaining the lawn for the property, and if they have questions, you can refer them to Task Easy, and we'd be happy to help out with that. Hopefully, I'm not seeing as many instances where it gets out of control with those questions. I would assume people would love just to get their lawn mowed, especially if it was getting done before. So just direct them to us, and we can help out. Circle K included in leaf cleanups. I think that will be a unique way of handling it. So I'm sure Yoed and team will break that down a little bit more specific to the properties that we service there for Circle K in Florida. So Gene let me know that looks like there's maybe some tracing issues on some of the properties here. So definitely appreciate that knowledge, and we can definitely do our part. If I'm not sure if you're already talking to your market manager, but we can also look at properties if you give us a call, and we can make sure that if maybe there's something that's not being accounted for at the property, we can trace it. I know sometimes that happens when there's a lot of trees that are blocking. It's kind of hard sometimes for that Google picture to come through, but that's where our partnership comes to be super beneficial for both of us if we're chatting regularly about that kind of stuff. Any way to get properties assigned before 2 a.m. in the morning? Getting a lot of them lately. I would assume so, especially in your neck of the woods. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy with rain over a lot of the country, and our system looks at past dues that maybe didn't get finished for that day, and it'll we account for an extra percentage on top of what we've already scheduled you to maybe get more jobs. I can understand that being a concern in terms of routing, and I think that's been a little bit compounded by the fact that we've had some pretty crazy rain all over Florida and then the Southeast as well. So including this time of year getting narrow windows just in general. But I think right now the supply that we continue to go and get in some of those areas as we continue to grow work, just getting more vendors to help out, or hopefully growing with you guys is the easy fix there. But we can take that away and chat through it. It's just hard systematically to we kind of have that on like an internal timer when that gets set. But I can see how that's probably getting a little bit more noticed right now. Does blowing out debris and leaves count as improving curb appeal? I would say, I mean, the big thing is if it's like a lot of debris, like we're gonna want to clean it up. And then the other one thing with that, Kathy, would just be to make sure that, and you know this because you've been with us so long, not to get it in any kind of neighbor's, yard or whatnot. But I suspect in your neck of the woods that you'll be looking at curb appeal or property inspections here, maybe with slow growth coming soon. So let's see. Having to return to clean up leaves is a waste of time. I agree. Totally agree. We want to make sure that we're able to get things done for you right then and there. It's not that, I'm not gonna lie, it's not the easiest process. I totally get where you're coming from. But working with our customers, trying to get that and stay on top of it instead of coming back and seeing, more leaves falling, change for a bit is what we're definitely trying to avoid. Let's see. The only thing I would like to know is last week and this week I've had to drive a long distance from one property to another. Excuse me. I also have been assigned other properties I hadn't had before. I am able to get about 20 properties now, and I'm spending much money on gas to pay my employees. Yeah, so it's not adding up. Is there anything to do about this issue? Yeah, I know, Mario, first of all, I want to say thank you for your help in Louisville. It's looking so great, and I think you're killing it out there. I think as we have some past due properties, we may be systematically sending you more of those jobs, which is probably maybe contributing to that. So the reason I'm saying all this out loud is so that my team can hear too, and we can kind of work with you and take that offline. But I do appreciate all your help. I want to make sure you're getting compensated, especially if you're driving around, or if we need to maybe change up some pinpoints so that if you're going to be in those areas that we, cluster things to give you the most that you can, or make it worthwhile rather. Can we start being able to see what jobs we got paid for? I think that's around the finance, getting the specifics. I know our team is working on that. So in the financial reporting, I think it's line by line before that gets broken down. That's what we're looking for. So I can follow up on that. I know that it's definitely a priority with that team. Where can I rewatch this? It'll be in the Contractor Resource Center. So taskeasy.com / I think it might just be CRC, Contractor Resource Center, but we'll have it there as well as YouTube. Are you planning on commercial properties? Absolutely. We're planning on commercial properties. Build for rent communities are all over. They're the hottest trend right now. They're all around me. So I think that's our big focus, is to make sure that we're diversifying our portfolio, which I think, when we do that, there's different nuances. And so if that's something you're able to do, we'll definitely keep it in mind. But pressure washing, everything that kind of goes with that, there's a lot of things to think through. Is there any way to communicate which clients will be staying on and how many estimated jobs will be on schedules? It would definitely help us plan for labor. I totally agree with that. I can tell you our account management team does do an excellent job at ensuring that weekly we're talking with our clients about that and getting the most up-to-date information. So I know that what we know now is what we know. If they change their mind and want to stay on, we kind of take that as it comes, but the sentiment that we have here, Scott, is exactly what we share. Makes it easier for them next year. we can keep everybody going, you don't have to go back through kind of the wonky labor that we continue to kind of have to work through in terms of you guys trying to find, good help, because it's not easy. And I definitely want to help you plan. Twice this year, Task Easy scheduled jobs on federal holidays, so Labor Day and the 4th of July. Reschedule myself, your computer, and the algorithm reassigned to someone else. So the easy solve there would let us know if you're not going to be working on those holidays, and we'll automatically just exclude it. But yeah, our system, if a job's late or past due based on like where we have your pinpoints in our system, for like, let's call it Tuesday, we'll say that was on Monday, those jobs will most likely be reshuffled and go to other vendors, just because it makes more sense for us to be able to get those done as quick as possible. And if you're not in that area till next week, we can account for it. But that is the culprit there. If you just let us know like when you're going to be off, if you're not, because there's a lot of people that do work those days as well. But if you're not going to be on, we can make sure that we note that in the future. And then you can just let us know when you get back. It's a perfect segue for vacations as well. Starting to see a few more of those requests coming in for the next couple months. Yeah, I really need gate codes. Yeah, that's definitely interesting, James. If you could share maybe a property, I can look at it and see who the customer is and kind of go from there. Typically they want that done as much as everybody else. There's been a couple of properties that look great, and then we get in the backyards and it's quite a lot of work to get that remedied. So Alan, appreciate the comment. I know that there's been a little bit of feedback in terms of overgrowth fees and some negotiations that take place over the phone. We've had some good conversations and dialogue. We got a lot of new people that have been in our staff, and we can kind of continue through that, similar to you guys if you're hiring. But that's what this meeting's for, so that we can hear that feedback and continue to improve that. So if for some reason you're not getting anywhere with that, I'd love to hear from you, or our team, our market manager would love to hear from you as well, so that we can make sure that we're getting to the root of that problem. Oh, I got you, James. Let's see. I can handle 100 fall cleanups this year. Send them my way. Love it. Hey, Jeff, we appreciate you. Honestly, it's the nucleus of our business, or all of our network. So we couldn't do this without you guys. Oh, the in-app bidding process. So we got some testers. So James, yeah, I hear you. That should be, it might be a couple weeks down the road. I know we want to test it and then get into that for the network to go in-app for additional funds. So Alan, that's kind of the process that we're going to, is just that in-app and additional funds in our bid process. So we should be coming up on that beta test within the next few weeks, and we'll definitely make sure this group's apprised of how that's going. And yep, Alan, that's exactly right. So the idea with the curb appeal, if you're there and you're doing some curb appeal, and obviously you're taking the photos, and leave a comment if there's anything that you think might seem like it needs some clarification. The idea is, if I'll use your example, if it's a $37 cut, then you're going to do $37 worth of curb appeal, right? So totally right. Yeah, the hardscaping, that's weed eating between the cracks along the driveway and the sidewalk. Just one thing to reinforce with your teams. I know we do get called out a lot about that, so rejections can be frustrating with that. Some of the properties that we've got late season, they're pretty, I mean, I'm not calling out any market in particular, but sometimes when you get a property that's late season, no one's been taken care of, I know it can kind of get unruly. So again, if it's something that's out of the norm and it's just a ton of them, let us know and we'll get you guys we'll look into overgrowth for that. Yeah, Mario for sure. All right, guys. Looks like we're at the top of the hour, or bottom of the hour. Sorry. We've got a few more messages here that I can go ahead and take offline. I'll share with my team. But I do want to thank you guys all for taking the time out of your day to join this call, and we'll see you in 2 weeks with some more information and look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.